Hey everyone, Sarah Pacaro, your favorite hypnotherapist and rapid transformational therapist. Today's video is going to be about the pain that the adult holds on to who was neglected as a child. And so much of this, if you find in your adult life, in your adult relationships, you are attracted to or staying in relationships with people who don't treat you well, who don't respect you, people with narcissistic traits or tendencies. What I always find, I found in myself and I found in this connection with everyone that I work with now, is that there's invisible pain. It's an invisible scar. It's not a physical scar. And it always leads back to past experiences, past traumas, and these past beliefs that we've developed about ourselves because of these experiences where perhaps, we had a okay childhood or a normal childhood, but there was a lot of things that we didn't have. There was a lot of missing pieces, so to speak. Imagine like your life is like this puzzle, and some of the sections and corners and edges are together, but this whole picture isn't there. You're feeling incomplete. You're feeling lost. You're feeling stuck to try and find those missing pieces, and you're experiencing things like anxiety and panic attacks and flashbacks and all of these trauma responses. You find that you want to fight back like verbally, uh, is for silly little things, right? Maybe you're in a relationship and the person says, "Hey, babe, what do you want to do for dinner?" And you're thinking, "I don't know. Why do I always have to be the one to decide? Why is it always up to me?" And then you find that it suddenly becomes this big explosive argument and you're not sure why. You're not sure where that comes from. You're doing things that you hate doing. And you don't understand it, and you've tried things to fix it. You've tried journaling, you've tried listening to audios, you've tried meditations, you've tried reading books about, the topic, or that person is telling you, "Wow, you're crazy, you have anger issues, you need to get help, you need to get counseling." And you're thinking, maybe I do. I mean, I know that there's things in me, inside of me, that I don't like. What it is linked to and what it's connected to is that invisible pain that you have that's still inside of you as the adult you are today, because of this childhood neglect, because of these unmet childhood needs that are still inside of you. They don't just magically go away. So I'm going to go through some things that will maybe connect with you and resonate with you, in a way that you may think, okay, yeah, that's me today. So if you find or feel that in your life today you're sneaking around to meet needs that you don't even understand. I found that I was doing this in the relationship with the first narcissist, which was, classified as a covert narcissist. I began doing things myself and seeking for this attention outside of the relationship. But who I am is not a person who believes in cheating on someone else, but I found that I was engaging in thoughts and behaviors that I didn't even understand. I was sneaking around, I was doing certain things, all to get this validation that I wasn't getting within the relationship, but I didn't even feel safe within the relationship to express those unmet needs because of how wrong I was made, or I was told I was crazy, and I was told I needed help in counseling and therapy, and I actually was going, but it was just someone to talk to about the experience. It didn't actually help going into the depths of where it was coming from, the root cause of it. It was just talking about the surface level and symptoms of actions I was taking. But I didn't understand why I was doing those things. You may find that you're lying, you're constantly lying in order to fit in. And you know that the narcissist is lying as well, and you hate being lied to. And maybe you find that you're lying to them, or you're lying to friends, or you're lying at work, or you're lying even though it's little small tiny white lies, and so you validate and justify and go, well, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I just didn't tell them about this little thing. But that builds up shame, that builds up guilt, that builds up resentment, it builds up even more anger, because then when you get called out on those things, of course you react from a place of holding on to that lie, that resentment, and all of that impacts. And you may notice that you lie in order to fit in. And it may seem like it doesn't matter. It's a little white lie, right? And so you just brush it under the rug, but eventually that rug gets piled up underneath. And so doing the work is about clearing that out, clearing it out of your mind, body, heart, and soul. But If you notice that you're lying in order to fit in, that is connected to this neglect that you experienced as a child. It leaves you with an emotional void, and you do these things to try and fill that void. And lying is one of them. If you notice that you're an adult now and you built a career around being needed, and maybe I've worked with people who were teachers. I was a teacher in the past myself. You work with in naturally giving positions, maybe a nurse or something that you feel needed, and you love feeling needed because when you're needed, you feel that you're making a greater contribution instead of being wanted. And there's a difference between a need and a want, right? Like if you want to go shopping, for example, to get a new dress, you would go, well, I need a new dress. Well, perhaps you have one in your closet, so you don't really need it, you want it. But when you were raised in an environment where you're emotionally neglected as a child and now you're an adult, you grow up and you do adult things. You go to school and you get education and you find yourself in a career, and you build this entire career around being needed instead of wanted. You'll notice something else that you may do is as you're growing up, you may look back on different stages of your life and think that you were kind of a misfit, or you're a rebel, you're an outsider, or a freak, or whatever it is. There's so many different terms for things now and different stages that you go through. But you may feel like you're a misfit, or you're a freak, or that no one understands you, no one gets it. That is all because of this emotional neglect from past, those invisible pains and scars that are still impacting today. You may choose to spend time with someone who's hurtful to you rather than be alone. I cannot tell you how many times this comes up in RTT sessions with clients. They knowingly were spending time with these friends who were so mean to them, but they didn't understand why. And mom would say, why do you spend time with Sally? Sally steals from you. Every time you go to Sally's house, or you let Sally come over here, you can't find things, they're missing from you. And this happened when you were a little child, when you were a little girl, if you're a woman, and you don't know why. And you know that Sally was mean to you, but you still hung out with her anyway because it felt better than being alone. And you may notice that you still do that today. You still allow yourself to be around people who were hurtful to you because it just feels better than being alone. And the fear of being alone seems overwhelming and so detrimental. You may notice that you feel overly attentive to the needs of others while denying your own. And someone like a narcissist loves people who allow that. They love when you just care for and attend to their needs, and you're just there at their beck and call all the time. But you may notice that you have other relationships, maybe that you wouldn't classify or you defend or say, oh, they're narcissistic. I don't think they're narcissistic, but I know that, like, I'm always expected when they say this to be there. And if I'm not, like, they start blowing up my phone, and it's like, where are you? What are you doing? Why are you not answering? Why are you not responding? And then you feel even more guilt and more shame. And you find that you're overly attentive to everyone else's needs. And you've got these things that you know that if you did for yourself, and you took better care of yourself or loved yourself more, did these things, that you'd feel better. Yet for some reason you don't do them, and you don't understand why, because you know logically, if I did these, I feel so much better, yet you don't. So another aspect of this is that you struggle. You really, really struggle with anger, with rage. You feel it like building up inside of you. You struggle with resentment. And you know that if you just told them what was on your mind, chances are maybe this person, if they're not a narcissist, but other people in your life, if you just told them what was on your mind, then they would understand, and they wouldn't want you to feel that way, but you don't tell them. And you expect them to read your mind or know what you were thinking, maybe because you've known each other for a long time, sometimes years or decades. And you feel so resentful when someone needs you, like maybe a child. If your child gets sick or your partner gets sick and they need more from you or more of you, you really, really struggle with the anger and the rage and the resentment, and you project it out onto them. You take it out on them, and you don't understand why. Another aspect of this is you pick partners who are projects or people who need to be fixed. You like that. You like always having a project, even though you don't feel good and it's a ton of work. Those are the types of partners that you choose or tend to pick. And you know this, you probably see this pattern in the cycle within yourself and you don't like it, but it just seems to be what you do and you don't understand why. That's all connected and related to past experiences of neglect. Another example is that you just have exhausting explanations of your experience and you feel that I don't even know where to start. And there's just books and books and books that could be written on your experience. And you find that you overly share this. You share this with everyone and you're sharing it with people who are not reciprocating it back to you, people who often don't even care. And they're not holding space for you. They're not sympathetic or empathetic on your story. And they're just kind of neglecting it like, okay, right? And it just feels like you would rather bang your head on the wall because you have to explain everything. And you find that you explain it to everything to people who are like, okay. And you don't understand it. Uh, all of this is because of past childhood neglect, because of past emotional experiences that you've had where that experience is still holding that emotional charge, that energetic charge. Yes, so much of it is a result of having an experience or relationship with the narcissist. But when you peel the layers away and you go deeper, you notice it's not just that one particular person, relationship, or event. It's an accumulation of everything. And it does go back to that inner programming, those past experiences that you had when you were a child, where there was complete emotional neglect, right? And so when you see that you've been making these really, really desperate attempts to kind of keep everything together and be that glue that keeps from everything falling apart in your life, or you are constantly thinking thoughts like, is this my fault? What did I do so wrong? Why can't I get it right? I'm seeming to just seem to be failing. No matter what I do, no matter where I turn, I just seem to be failing and everything seems to be falling apart. Maybe I am really going crazy. Maybe it is my fault. What if I am unlovable? What if I am never going to be good enough? And you have those thoughts all the time. And all of these are connected to past emotional neglect and experiences, and they lead you to beating yourself up. And you think that if I just beat myself up enough, I will rid myself of these toxic behaviors. And so you beat yourself up and you're like, I am so stupid. They're right, I am. I'm never going to get it. And you think that if you say that, it's going to like feel better or shift or change. And you find that you're spinning your wheels constantly in an effort to figure out how in the world you're going to make things better, because you can't go on like this. You can't live like this anymore. And you need things to be better. And you're making yourself even more and more exhausted. You're finding that you're more and more drained and you can't go on like this anymore, but you don't know what else to do. Well, that's when doing work, like getting in there, not just doing conscious work, like doing this workbook or doing this journal, but really getting into the inner mind, the unconscious mind, where all of those beliefs live, all those little seeds were planted when you didn't get what you needed emotionally as a child. You grew up with emotionally unavailable parents, perhaps, or you found that you were doing all those things. Why am I lying to fit in? I know that lying is morally wrong. I don't like that I do it, and I don't know why I do it. Really getting in there, using hypnosis, using rapid transformational therapy to get into the inner workings of your mind. That's where the answers are. That's where the solutions lie. They don't lie anywhere outside of yourself. I imagine you've spent years and years trying to find it outside of yourself, trying to talk to someone about it, maybe a friend, maybe a therapist, maybe a counselor, and you've done meditations and you've done journaling and you still feel this way. Well, isn't it time that you do something different? So that's that's all what you get the beauty of and the ability to discover about yourself. And I always say it takes turning it around and turning it inward. And the best method that I have found, the journey that I take my clients on, is using that. using your mind. Your mind is the only mind that had your experiences. Your mind is the only mind that understands the interpretations and the beliefs that you have developed about yourself because of those past experiences. And you can't access it on a conscious level. It's limited. The conscious mind is very, very limited. It's about 5% of the mind. If you look up any kind of conscious or unconscious work, you'll see it's relatively 5% versus 95%. And you'll see that that's really big difference. So when you get the ability to use your unconscious mind to provide you the solution, the answers that you're looking for, everything shifts and changes. So like I said, if you are struggling with this, I know what you're going through. I've been there. You know, I'm not perfect today by any means, but I know where the answers lie. And they're in here, they're in my heart, they're in my mind, getting in there and seeing this, right? All these things that you don't like about yourself, they're trying to protect you. They're trying to keep you safe and figuring that out. What is that stuff trying to tell you? What is it trying to keep you from? How is it trying to protect you from being hurt even more? And that's where it is. You got to go in. So when you're ready to do the work to go in, please reach out, please connect. There's links in the description below this video that we can connect. You can learn more about hypnosis, more about rapid transformational therapy. You can always schedule a consultation so that you and I can connect and we can talk more about possibly working one-on-one together if we feel like it's a good fit and it's right for you in this next step to take. So thank you guys as always for tuning in and watching this. I hope that this resonates. I hope that it is helpful for you and where you're at in your journey. And I look forward to guiding you even further.